Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? Today we're exploring this podcast, Master English with Ease,
Oh, yeah, I checked that one out.
hosted by Alex and Sophia.
Right, yeah.
They've got a ton of great advice, especially for learning English quickly and thoroughly.
Yeah, it seemed like they really go beyond just, surface level stuff.
Right.
They get into like how our brains are actually wired to learn languages.
Yeah, through like storytelling.
Storytelling, exactly.
Yeah, and association.
Yeah, and they're big on not just memorizing lists of vocabulary.
Oh, yeah?
Like you got to actually use the words.
Yeah, put them in a sentence,
and
right?
Make it real for you.
Yeah, so instead of just astonished,
Right.
you could say like, ah.
I was astonished by...
Yeah, I was astonished by the sheer vastness of the Grand Canyon or something.
Exactly, and you're way more likely to remember it that way.
Way more likely.
They call it contextual learning.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I like how they talk about word association, too.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Connecting a word with like a feeling or an image.
Right, like thinking of a calm lake when you hear the word serene.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then they get into collocations, too.
Oh, yeah, that's where it gets really interesting.
What's that?
So collocations are basically groups of words that, like, naturally go together.
Okay.
Like, make a decision or have a conversation.
Okay, yeah.
And learning these chunks, it can really help you sound more natural.
Yeah, like you're learning phrases instead of just individual words.
Right, exactly. It's like learning to ride a bike. You wouldn't learn about all the individual parts first.
Yeah.
You just hop on and try to ride it.
Makes sense.
Same with collocations. You kind of learn the mechanics of the language.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Thanks.
So basically, if you want to expand your vocabulary,
Yeah.
you got to use the words and sentences, make those connections, and pay attention to how words naturally group together.
Yep. And don't forget about repetition.
Oh, right. Yeah. Flashcards, apps,
Yeah. All that good stuff.
writing them down over and over.
Whatever works for you.
Okay. So we've got vocabulary down. What about grammar?
Oh, grammar. The big scary one.
I know, right? But Alex and Sophia have a really good approach.
Yeah, they actually say don't get bogged down in all the complex rules right away.
Oh, that's good, because I always feel like I'm getting lost in the rules.
Right.
Yeah.
Instead, they say just focus on one tense or structure at a time.
Okay.
Like start with the present simple.
Okay, like I wake up at 7 a.m.,
Exactly.
have breakfast, and go for a run.
Perfect. Simple and effective.
And then you can move on from there.
Right. And they even suggest watching movies or shows with subtitles.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you kind of absorb the grammar naturally.
Yeah, without even realizing it.
And if you like writing, you can keep a journal in English.
Oh, yeah, just a few sentences every day.
Exactly. It all helps.
Okay, so we've covered vocab grammar.
Uh-huh. What's next?
Well, you can't forget about listening.
Oh, right. Listening is huge.
And Alex and Sophia are all about active listening.
Active listening. What's that?
It's like you're really engaged with what you're listening to. You're not just hearing the words, but you're trying to understand like the nuances.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the context, the speaker's intentions.
Gotcha. So like reading between the lines a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They even suggest pausing and summarizing what you've heard,
It's a good idea.
just to make sure you're getting it.
Right.
And then they have this really cool technique called shadowing.
Shadowing. I haven't heard of that one.
So you listen to a phrase,
Oh,
then you
so-
repeat it out loud,
Okay.
and you try to copy the speaker's intonation and pronunciation.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a challenge.
It is, but it's fun.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
They actually have a dialogue in their podcast where they're talking about their weekend plans,
Yeah.
and they encourage listeners to try shadowing that conversation.
Oh, cool. So you're like becoming their vocal shadow.
Exactly. And it helps with your pronunciation and fluency, too.
So it's like a triple whammy. You're working on listening, pronunciation, and speaking all at once.
Exactly. And you can shadow anything, podcasts, audiobooks, even speeches.
Wow, that's really versatile.
I know, right?
So we've got vocabulary, grammar, listening.
Yeah. What's left?
The big one, speaking.
Speaking.
Yeah. For a lot of people, that's the most intimidating part.
Definitely. But Alex and Sophia have some great advice for that, too.
Oh, good. Because I need all the help I can get with speaking.
Don't worry, we all do.
True.
They actually emphasize that making mistakes is totally normal.
Yeah. Everyone makes mistakes.
Even native speakers.
True.
And it's how we learn.
So we shouldn't be afraid to make mistakes.
Exactly. It's more important to focus on fluency than perfection.
That's a good point.
So just getting your message across clearly and confidently.
Right. Even if you mess up a few words here and there.
And if you're ready, they also recommend finding a language partner.
Oh, yeah, like a conversation buddy.
Exactly. Or using language exchange apps
Wow.
like Tandem or HelloTalk.
Okay, cool. So you can practice speaking with someone regularly.
Yeah, and it can really boost your confidence.
That makes sense.
So basically speaking, practice is key.
Yeah, got to get out there and actually use the language.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Mistakes are our friends.
They are.
Cool. So that's vocabulary, grammar, listening, and speaking.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have. This is great.
But there's still more to come.
Oh, really? What else is there?
We're going to dive into some really cool tips for integrating English into your everyday life.
Oh, wow. I can't wait to hear about that.
It's going to be good.
Awesome.
So stay tuned.
I'm ready.
Welcome back to our deep dive on mastering English with Alex and Sophia.
All right. So
We talked about vocabulary, grammar, and listening.
yeah, all the care stuff.
Now we're getting into speaking.
Oh, boy.
And, for a lot of people, that's the most intimidating part.
Definitely. I get nervous just thinking about it.
I know, me too.
Yeah.
But Alex and Sophia, they have a really interesting take on speaking practice.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
They suggest that even talking to yourself in English can be helpful.
Wait, really talking to yourself?
I know it sounds kind of weird, but think about it like you're in a judgment-free zone.
Right.
You can experiment with different words and phrases without feeling self-conscious.
I guess that makes sense.
You could describe your surroundings,
Yeah.
narrate what you're doing,
Okay.
or even have imaginary conversations in English.
So I can finally win all those arguments in my head.
Exactly. It's like a personal rehearsal stage.
I like that.
And, of course, if you're ready for the real deal,
Yeah.
they recommend finding a language partner or using language exchange apps.
Right. Get out there and talk to real people.
But they also have some tips for those who aren't quite ready for that yet,
Okay, cool.
like listening to music.
Oh, I love listening to music.
Me too.
Yeah.
And they suggest not just passively listening, but singing along.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Right. It helps with your pronunciation.
Yeah, you pick up new words and phrases.
And it's just fun.
It is.
And I'm also big on reading.
Reading. Oh, yeah. I should probably do more of that.
Yeah, me too. Even just a few pages a day can make a big difference.
Okay, what kind of stuff should I be reading?
Anything you're interested in.
Really?
Yeah, it could be a novel,
Okay.
a blog post, news articles.
Okay.
Just find something that sparks your curiosity.
So it's got to be something I actually want to read.
Exactly. It's all about making it enjoyable.
Gotcha.
And then there's watching movies and TV shows.
That's a good one. I love movies.
Me too. It's a
Yeah.
great way to immerse yourself in the language.
And you can pick up different accents and stuff.
Exactly. They suggest starting with subtitles
Oh, yeah. Subtitles are a lifesaver
and then gradually transitioning to watching without them.
as you get better.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good tip.
And if you're feeling really ambitious, you could even try shadowing the actors.
We're shadowing again.
Yep. It's that versatile.
Wow. Okay, I got to try that.
So it's not just about isolated practice. It's
No.
about weaving English into your everyday life.
Yeah, make it a part of your routine.
Exactly. Speaking of which, Alex and Sophia have this quirky little tip.
Oh. I love quirky dips.
It's about labeling household items.
Labeling household items. What do you mean?
Like labeling your fridge table door with their English names.
It
It sounds a little strange,
It does.
but it's actually really effective
Why is that?
because it's constant visual reinforcement.
Oh, I see.
You're seeing those words every day.
So it's like turning your home into an English learning environment.
Exactly. It's all about those little nudges.
I kind of like that idea.
And it's super easy to do.
Yeah, no excuse not to try it.
So we've talked about a lot of different techniques.
We have. My head is spinning.
But the most important thing is consistent practice.
Okay, so it's not just about cramming for hours once a week,
No, it's about those little bursts of practice throughout the day.
like a little bit every day.
Exactly, like exercising a muscle.
Oh, I get it. Small, regular workouts.
Yep, and it all adds up over time.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you can find those little pockets of time in your day,
Like during my commute.
or while you're waiting in line, or even while you're cooking dinner.
Okay, so there's always time to practice.
Exactly. And speaking of practice, Alex and Sophia have some really good advice about mindset.
Mindset. What do they say about that?
They're all about embracing mistakes.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that before.
Right, mistakes are opportunities for growth.
Not failures.
Exactly. It's about learning from those mistakes.
So don't beat yourself up over them.
No, be kind to yourself.
Okay, self-compassion.
And they also talk about focusing on fluency over perfection.
Right. It's not about being perfect.
It's about being able to communicate effectively.
Yeah, get your point across.
Exactly. And they say that the most fluent speakers are often the ones who are least afraid to make mistakes.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's about having the courage to just go for it.
Even if you mess up.
Yeah, because that's how you learn and grow.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here.
Good. It's all about shifting your perspective.
From fear to confidence.
Exactly. And that confidence will take you far on your language journey.
Awesome. I'm feeling inspired.
So we've covered a lot in this deep dive.
A ton. Vocabulary, grammar, listening, speaking mindset.
But there's one more key theme that I want to highlight.
Oh, what's that?
Personalization.
Personalization. What do you mean?
Alex and Sophia emphasize that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to learning English.
Oh, right. Everyone's different.
Exactly. What works for one person might not work for another.
So it's about finding what works for me.
Exactly. They talk about different learning styles.
Yeah, like visual, auditory, kinesthetic.
Yep. And they encourage listeners to experiment with different techniques.
Oh, okay. So try different things and see what sticks.
Exactly. It's all about finding what resonates with you.
What sparks my enthusiasm.
Yeah, and keeps you motivated.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Uh-huh.
I want you to think about what's resonated with you the most.
Okay.
What are you most eager to try out in your own language learning journey?
So many good ideas to choose from.
I know, right? But that's the beauty of it. There are so many different paths you can take.
And it's up to me to find my own path.
Exactly. And remember, there's no right or wrong way to do it.
Okay, no pressure.
Just keep experimenting, keep practicing, and keep having fun.
Awesome.
This deep dive has given you a toolkit of strategies.
A whole toolbox.
And now it's time to take those tools and create your own masterpiece.
I love that analogy.
So are you ready for the final part of our deep dive?
I am. Bring it on.
Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Master English with Ease.
It's been quite a journey.
It has. We've learned so much from Alex and Sophia.
They've got some really insightful advice.
Yeah, and I like how they always bring it back to the bigger picture.
Right. Like it's not just about memorizing grammar rules.
Yeah, it's about actually being able to use English fluently and confidently.
In real life situation.
Exactly.
Right.
And they make it clear that there's no magic bullet.
Yeah, no shortcuts.
It takes effort and a willingness to try new things.
And to embrace the journey.
Exactly. Speaking of embracing the journey,
Yeah.
they have a really great point about mistakes.
Oh, yeah. They're big on not being afraid to make mistakes.
Right, because everyone makes them.
Even native speakers.
It's how we learn.
So we should view mistakes as opportunities for growth.
Exactly.
Right.
Not as failures.
Right. Learn from them and move on.
And they also talk about finding your own learning rhythm.
Yeah, because not everyone learns the same way.
Right. Some people are visual learners, some are auditory, some are kinesthetic.
So we need to figure out what works best for us.
Exactly. Alex and Sophia encourage listeners to experiment with different techniques.
Like try out different things and see what clicks.
Yeah, maybe flashcards work for you, or maybe it's podcasts, or maybe it's something else entirely.
The important thing is to personalize your approach.
Exactly. And we also talked about weaving English into your everyday life.
Oh, yeah, all those cool tips.
Like labeling household items,
Singing along to English songs.
shadowing movie scenes.
It's all about making English a natural part of your world.
Right, not just something you study in a textbook.
Yeah, create those little moments of immersion throughout your day.
And have fun with it.
Exactly. Because learning should be enjoyable.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, our listener, a question.
Okay, shoot.
What technique or piece of advice resonated most with you?
What are you most eager to try out?
We've explored so many different strategies.
From contextual learning to word association to active listening to shadowing.
Which one sparked your curiosity the most?
What are you going to take away from this deep dive and apply to your own language learning journey?
Because ultimately, it's your journey.
You get to choose your own path.
There's no right or wrong way to do it.
The important thing is to find what works for you.
What keeps you motivated and engaged?
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Try new things, see what happens.
And most importantly, have fun.
This deep dive has given you a toolkit of strategies.
A starting point.
Now it's up to you to use those tools and create your own masterpiece.
Your own unique path to fluency.
So keep learning, keep practicing, and keep exploring.
And remember, we're always here to cheer you on.
That's it for this deep dive.
Until next time.
Happy learning, everyone.